所以是白萝啊，carrot 是红萝卜，这是白萝卜。
Okay. Today we are on a recent event, the 2021 floods in Henan, or in particular its capital city, Zhengzhou. The so-called Zhengzhou flood. So to give you a little bit of perspective, let's look at some of the videos. Wait, let me share. Hi. Okay. Okay. Oh. Hey. Ai冇係得 OK， OK 冇問題，冇問題 OK。係。係。唔介意。係。好。今日咧，我就而家仲有1個鐘頭個堂要上完呢個鐘頭我就得啦。OK， 冇問題。咁啊2點鐘香港時間。好。好。好啊，好啊，好。好 ，OK， OK， bye， 拜拜 ，bye。Sorry, there's another important call. But anyway, let's start with this. If I remember correctly, this is some random views taken by the Chinese journalists during that period of time when the flood occurs.
Zhengzhou, the capital city of Henan province and one of China's most culturally significant cities, is under attack. Unprecedented weather patterns have been devastating cities around the globe this summer, as global warming and climate change wreak havoc on our planet. However, it appears the hardest hit area in the world is at the heart of the Yellow River in central China. In Zhengzhou, the equivalent of a year's average rainfall fell in just 3 days, a superstorm that happens once every 1,000 years. In recent days, more than 1.5 million residents have been relocated out of Zhengzhou to various cities across the province. Roads have turned into rivers that washed away cars. Railroad tunnels were flooded, and at least 14,000 houses have collapsed due to the floods. Local residents were trapped underground in the city's extensive subway system as water rose to as high as their shoulders, a horror scenario. To date, at least 69 people have died in Henan province. Last Wednesday, Chinese President Xi Jinping publicly stated the floods have caused significant loss of life and property damage. Although the government of China invested billions in improving the infrastructure of the city to withstand normal flooding conditions, everything that is man-made is ultimately at the mercy of Mother Nature. No city in the world could withstand the amount of rainfall that was recorded in Zhengzhou over those 3 days. However, these historic floods are only half the story. What is China doing to control the situation, and how have the citizens of Zhengzhou responded so far? Over the years, we've seen China's government respond tremendously to national disasters, with 2 major events that serve as a strong reminder that brighter days are ahead for the citizens of Zhengzhou. The first was the devastating 2008 Sichuan earthquake that claimed the lives of 69,000 people. China's government immediately responded by sending in troops and resources from every province to help those in need. The second event was, of course, the 2020 COVID-19 outbreak in Wuhan, when supplies and medical staff from every corner of China were relocated to Wuhan to combat a virus that would eventually shut down the entire world. Over 8,000 soldiers from China's People's Liberation Army and 16,000 reserve force members have been relocated to Henan. They are evacuating people from homes, providing medical assistance, and stabilizing the floodwaters. They have also immediately begun reconstruction work and are supporting local authorities in the region. Rescue teams and fire departments from Beijing and Shandong are providing equipment such as helicopters to help increase the effectiveness of rescue efforts. The Ministry of Emergency Management coordinated additional efforts with aviation companies to mobilize unmanned drones for disaster relief, transmitting via a cellular network to restore communications essential to rescue operations. Many Chinese citizens responded to the call for donations and relief supplies with hundreds of million yuan raised in fundraising efforts from thousands of business and disaster relief funds. Public assistance was also overwhelming, as many ordinary citizens joined firefighters and police officers to rescue fellow civilians in danger. People sent supplies such as milk, bottled water, and groceries, shelter, and supplies. The Zhengzhou rescue is supported by the entire population. College students provided online spreadsheets to connect volunteers and rescuers with victims with the highest urgency and provide information on their whereabouts. 48 hours. This was built an incredibly difficult challenge. The country of China is responding the only way it knows how. Together. 坚决加油，中国加油。To see part 2, visit Reporter 5 Media's link in the description below.
Okay, so that's the first part. And then let's look at some other videos and then we can launch our discussion. Okay. This one is about some reporters on a high-speed train, and they heard the news on their way, and therefore they are going to set up a video camera on the train in order to capture what happened.
我们现在来到了石家庄车站，现场可以看到，因为受到暴雨的影响，这辆高铁上几乎每一站上下客的人都非常之多。
So what they notice is that they are now near Zhengzhou and notice the increase of the passengers.
Hello， 大家好，现在我正在前往去郑州的高铁上。
So this
那
is
么
a
从17号
reporter.
以
He
来，
is
河
on
南
she
当
is
地
on
的
his
降
way
雨就
on
轻
her
微
way
运行。
to
那么
Zhengzhou.
我跟我的同事也是在21号的凌晨，也就是今天凌晨刚刚接到要去郑州去一线采访的通知，所
So
以
they
我
are
们就
looking
赶了最
outside
早的
of
一班高
the
铁去到
high-speed
郑州。
train into the country.
在这趟开往郑州的高铁上，我们也可以看到车上的乘客还是特别关心这次水情的，都在刷相关的视频。
She noticed the passengers on the train is very much interested in the flooding situation occurring at the time.
我们的高铁现在抵达了新山东站，距离早26从北京发车已经过去了2个小时，距离抵达郑州还有1个小时。
So they are about 1 hour away from Zhengzhou, and you see the water is already flooding.
在即将到达郑州站的路上，
So it is now close to Zhengzhou,
交往航班了很多。
and they notice the train has slowed down a lot and see a lot of rainwater causing floods already. So the closer they arrive at Zhengzhou, the more flood they see all along the way. So eventually arrive at Zhengzhou now.
下车时，请您注意站台与列车之间的缝隙。
我们现在已经抵达了河南郑州。
Okay, so
尽管晚点了1个
reporters
小
arrive
时，
at
但这
Zhengzhou
一程整体感觉
and
是
it's
比较
1
平
hour
安顺
late,
利的。
which is very
看来
unusual
我们
in
将在
that
郑州开展相关的
high-speed
报道。
rail.
我
So
们
they
希望
will
我们
start
的采访内
reporting.
容在传
You
递
see
信息同
it's
时，也
already
能传递信息。
advanced now.
现在我们已经到了郑州东站，现在我要去找我的小伙伴去会师。
So the reporter is now going to meet with her other reporters
我
on
们
it.
现在已经来到了中国东站，我和我的文同事朗朗已经会好了。最后，也让我们为河南加油，郑州加油！
This is another view. This time is taken out, I think, from the hotel by the reporters. So you can imagine how deep is the water. Okay, a little bit of background information. On the 17th July 2021, China's Henan province has been affected by severe flooding caused by a period of prolonged heavy rain. Record-breaking maximum rainfall of 200 and almost 2 millimeters in an hour was observed in Zhengzhou, the provincial capital of Henan. 19 weather stations in the province renewed their daily rainfall records. As of July 29th, the Chinese authority has stated that at least 302 people had died, at least 5 still missing, and 800,000 people were evacuated. 1.1 million people were relocated. 9.3 million people were affected. It's huge affection because in China, near the coast, the population density is high. So one city like that, we are talking about over 10 million. This is the rainfall chart. Look at the rainfall on the 17th of July. It's just out of the ordinary. In one day, almost half a year's rainfall. And in 3 days is equivalent to the whole year's rainfall. So there's no city able to handle that amount of rainfall in such a short amount of time. From the 19th July, 8 o'clock to the next day, rainfall monitoring station is Henan measured a large amount of rainfall, including 5 Chinese national monitoring stations in different cities with their numbers there. The rainfall in 1 hour was as high as 200 millimeters, causing a serious waterlogging. All the reservoirs had reached the flood control limits. Zhengzhou's climate is classified as a warm and temperate. In winter, there is much less rainfall in Zhengzhou than in summer. There is a certain classification which classifies certain things. I can't understand this, but anyway, in Zhengzhou, the average annual rainfall is temperature is 15.8 degrees, quite a nice city, and about 700 millimeters. That's annual rainfall. So we see that within a 3 days period, almost a full year rainfall. No city can handle that one. One of the factors that cause it is because of a tropical cyclone in the east of Zhengzhou.
You talk to Renee.
It is feeding wet air from the Western Pacific right into mainland China. And near Zhengzhou, there was a mountain range. So as the wet air being fed into China, the mountain range forces the air to rise up. As the air rises up, it condenses and therefore rain fall down. And that is a very unusual, sustained supply of wet air into the Henan region. And that's why it caused such a flooding. So basically, this is the details of that. So I have just mentioned that. Okay, I think this is the map here. Zhengzhou is right here. So at that time, the subtropic region, the subtropic monsoon is around this region. So as the air goes in this direction for the northern hemisphere, so all the moist air from this part is being fed along this range, fed inwards to China. And there is a mountain range somewhere here. So as the wet air coming in, it rises up because driven by the range here, and therefore all the water is falling within Henan and in particular Zhengzhou. Again, this is some details. In 3 days, they collected close to the annual precipitation. So this is a report from Al Jazeera.
Terrible.
Floodwater wreaking havoc across China's Henan province, the damage visible as far as the eye can see. The army is warning one of the region's 7 stricken dams may collapse at any time, risking the lives of around 7 million people. Heavy downpours have flooded streets, stranding travelers, bringing the region to a standstill. Cars are completely submerged as residents are swept away. Underground, unmistakable panic among these passengers trapped inside a submerged subway car. Waist-deep waters rising to their shoulders. Emergency crews reportedly opening a hole in the roof, evacuating passengers one by one. This terrifying moment shows bystanders swallowed by a sinkhole, with the crowd rescuing this woman. A deafening explosion at this aluminium factory after a nearby river burst its banks, the floodwater mixed with chemicals, lighting up the night sky. The government has been upgrading its emergency response, with crews working round the clock to rescue residents inside their flooded homes and cars. Increased urbanization and climate change has worsened the impact of floods in recent years. This is the most rainfall the region has seen in 6 decades, with no sign of letting up anytime soon.
And Katrina joins us live now from Beijing. Katrina, so this flooding in Henan province has been pretty severe. I mean, how badly has it affected critical infrastructure in the region?
Hi, Darren. Well, there are at least 5 million people living in the city of Zhengzhou, and many of them are currently without electricity, fresh running water, internet, or gas. Many locals that we have spoken to are actually going into their cars and using their cars to charge their mobile phones, which are their only connection to the outside world. In terms of other infrastructure, most public transport has been suspended. So many roads, main roads are blocked, they're flooded. Buses have been cancelled, subways have been closed, as well as the airport. Now, 100,000 people have been relocated because of this wet weather, unprecedented for many of these locals in their lifetimes. Many that we have spoken to have said this is the worst that they've ever seen it. Those who can stay home have been warned by the government to remain indoors to stay safe. Now, it's been raining quite heavily in Zhengzhou for at least 3 days, but the worst of it came on Tuesday afternoon at about 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. local time. In the space of just 1 hour, 20 centimeters of rain fell, and many of the subways in the eastern part of the city, the most low-lying part of the city, were quickly submerged, and that's where tragically many of these who have been confirmed dead had lost their lives. Now, the government has sent in 10,000 people, a mixture of firefighters and soldiers, to participate in this rescue operation. And the warning level, the emergency level, remains at its highest. But it's not just Zhengzhou, the city, that has been affected. Neighboring areas are also affected, as well as the city of Luoyang, which is about 130 kilometers to the west of Zhengzhou. Now, this city has a very crucial dam, the Yihetan Dam, which was breached overnight by 20 meters of water. Authorities announced a warning that this dam could collapse at any moment. They are monitoring it and reinforcing it as we speak. And overnight, authorities also exploded parts of the dam in the lower parts of the river to relieve pressure on that dam and protect the 7 million people who live in the city of Luoyang. But they're still working very hard with authorities on high alert. Heavy rain is expected for at least another 2 days, and many locals say they are terrified and shocked and trying to stay safe and as dry as possible.
All right, Katrina, you live for us there in Beijing. Katrina, thank you.
Okay, so we know how serious the situation is. Now we can have a little discussion. What do you think? Anyone?
Well, I think it's very good that the authorities are able to coordinate a lot of different activities to help save people.
Some people compare this one with, for example, the flood in Europe. Remember, just not, I think it's about a week before the Zhengzhou flood, there was also a huge flood in Germany and Belgium. So in the Germany case, it is about 100 years chance of that kind of flood. But for Zhengzhou, we are talking about 1,000 years chance of that kind of flood. So, and again, I think given the density of population at the moment, they are reporting 302 lives lost. I think the Germany and Belgium flood lost about 200 lives, isn't it? So the number of lives lost is comparatively the same, given the size of population in China and the size of population in Beijing and in Germany and Belgium. So the climate change do have a big impact. And then about a week after the Zhengzhou flood, there was another big flood in India as well. And I think India also lost about 200 lives in that flood as well. So this year, it seems flood is a big issue. But unfortunately, on the other hand, in the West America, it's the dryness that is hurting them. California is on fire at the moment. They are very dry over there. They are very hot over there. Whereas on the Asian side, it is very wet. The whole global climate system is changing. So we have to look at it. And then another issue to realize that there was a little bit of reporting, for example, from BBC, saying the Western media in China wasn't welcomed by the population. Anyone realize that one?
No.
No? Okay. There was a reporting team from Voices of Germany, okay? Something like that. reporting in Zhengzhou immediately after the flood. So these reporters would have came in about the same time the rescuers go into Zhengzhou, a little bit later than that. So he was reporting when the locals come up and then ask to see what kind of reporting you are sending back. Because just before that, about about 12 hours ago in the BBC, there was a report from BBC where the reporter using very dim scenery accuses the Chinese government not giving help and letting the people die in the subway. And that naturally angers the citizens in Zhengzhou, because the citizens know how the Chinese government is pouring in assistance, and therefore they are very suspicious of any Western-looking reporters. So when they saw a Englishman, a European-looking reporter reporting, so they are naturally curious and asked to see what are you reporting, and they just ask them to be please be accurate. Don't downplay the government's assistance, etc., etc. And then that event turned out to be used by BBC and say an angry mob surrounded the reporters. Okay, maybe I can show you a article. Let me see if I can find it or not. It should be this one. No, no, not this one. No, let me find this article. Yeah, where do I put it? Because I have this open. This one no. Sorry, I said I can't find it at the moment. So there's another issue here at the moment is Chinese citizens is very much aware of what the Western media has been reporting in China, and they are now almost have a disagreement with the reporters who looks European in China. They're pushing back, put it that way. So let me see. Because I wanted to discuss this with you, and then but where do I put it? Yeah, too many tabs open here. So no, not in this range of tabs in the news. No, it shouldn't be the. But anyway, I can't find it at the moment. I will arrange that to discuss it maybe next time or so. So, any other questions about what happened? Yes, please.
What is the situation there like now?
The situation there, I think, at the moment is getting back to normal. The first infrastructure they restore is quite interesting. They restored the 4G mobile networks almost in about 3 hours. So what they did, I think I can show you for that one I can't show you the video. They use a drone, put the 4G stations onto a drone, and then fly the drone over the city in order to provide 4G networks. So this is how they did it. And then I think I can find an interesting video to show you. Just hang on a sec. I have, come on, give me, yeah. I think I have this saved here. How many days ago? Not this one. Nice. Good. Yeah. Sorry, I lost that video. Let me see whether it's this video. Okay, since we don't have much to talk about, let me show you a video from the Tokyo Olympics. Share screen. This one. Okay.
我们跟桥本大辉跳的是一模一样的动作，难度价值5.6，直挺立松。是吧？你看看我们的落地。
Okay. Do you know who win that gold medal between two of them? That was the last jump, and the Chinese go ahead in this particular game is 0.2 points ahead of the Japanese. But if the judge had deducted a little bit more instead of deduct 0.3 and deduct 0.4, then the gold medal will go to the Chinese. So it is. The Chinese think it is very unfair, but anyway. So what else I can show you? This one? Is that this one? No.
Who do you think's doing well at the Olympics? Which country?
Depending on how you count.
Per capita.
Yeah, you count by the number of medals. Then United States is now currently leading. Let me just pull up the.
What about per capita?
Per capita is of course Australia. Australia is going to win if we are counting metals per capita.
Yeah, so far.
Yeah, by a large margin. So I don't think any country can ever overtake Australia in that sense. If we count metals per capita, we are talking about 1,000. We have already got 33 medals and 14 gold, and Australia have about 2 billion people, 20 million people.
25.
So 35. So we are almost 1 million people per medal.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, and nobody's anywhere close. Because, for example, America is only 66 medals leading the medal count, but they have about 350 million people. So they are about what?
5 million.
We are 20 something. They are 30. Let's say 33. We are 22. So they are about 1.5, 15 times our population size. So if they are going to anything close to us, they have to have over 60 times 2.2, 132. 132. Yeah, they need about 140 medals to match. So
yeah.
If we just count the medals per capita, we are a large margin. We need the whole of the world. But if you just count the number of gold medals at the moment, China has 29, America has 22, Japan 17, and we have 14, sitting at number 4 with our small population. But in terms of just medal guns, the Americans have 66, China have 63, and Russia Olympic Committee, that's Russia, has 50, sitting at number 3, and Britain with 35, sitting at number 4. We have number 5 is Japan and Australia, both with 33 medal counts. So interesting in the sense that a little country like Australia has the most number of medals per capita. Any other questions? No? Well, if that's the case, we will have this meeting shorter. Yes.
Where will we be next week?
Unless it open up, otherwise we will still on Zoom.
Okay.
Because I don't think our council is going to let us open up any. So probably on Zoom, because unless they allow us almost everybody back to the classroom. So okay, let's say next week we are also on Zoom.
Will it be the same little URL?
Yes, the URL won't change.
It'll
but
keep
I will send out the URL anyway.
Okay.
By about Monday next week.
Okay.
So just in case, but I think let's put it this way. Next week we will on Zoom.
Okay.
Okay, for the time being. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Great.
Thank you.